I'm Pete Fotos, Executive Vice President of Engineering and Chief Scientist at Streamline Innovations. We operate natural gas processing facilities in West and South Texas, removing hydrogen sulfide from natural gas. Hydrogen sulfide is a toxic, corrosive, and explosive gas that appears in approximately 50% of all natural gas wells around the world, and Texas is no exception. We remove the hydrogen sulfide, converting it to elemental sulfur, which can be used as fertilizer in soil reclamation projects. We operate at small individual wells, at gathering facilities that contain 3, 4, or 5 wells, and at large-scale facilities, which may contain 30 to 50 wells. The small and medium wells need to run completely autonomously. That means with as little human intervention as possible. And we use ignition to help us facilitate that automation within the system. The larger facilities are manually operated and usually contain a team of 2 to 3 people. We call the process to remove H2S the Valkyrie process. The Valkyrie process is actually an old process that we've made commercially viable by using new chemistry, new commercial practices, and an updated control system that's powered by ignition. With ignition, we've been able to reduce the number of man-hours to our systems to just a few hours a week, yet still maintain over a 99% uptime. We didn't think this was possible using current technology, and this off-the-shelf technology was able to facilitate our ability to do this.
My name is Haley Brown. I'm the Process and Development Manager for Streamline Innovations. Ignition's mobile capabilities allow Streamline's engineers to faster, more accurately diagnose problems in the field, all without opening up their computer. In addition to remote monitoring, we also use Ignition for data analytics, and we even use it as a common interface for our lab so that we can use the same instruments for our systems in the field and for our experiments in the lab.
We love the flexibility that Ignition provides. For example, in the HMI, we're moving to Ignition Perspective, which allows us to access the units from our cell phones, from the control room, or anywhere in the world.
With our mobile and Perspective clients, Ignition provides us more than just a spreadsheet full of values. It gives us rich contextualized data that's easy to understand.
My name is Matheus Higues, and I'm a Control Systems Engineer at Streamline Innovations. One cool feature about Ignition is that we can use that as a single platform across all of our devices and our control systems, because they can communicate with gateway networks, or we can transfer data across all of our devices using MQTT, and it's very easy and efficient to monitor and also control the tags that way.
One of the things we're developing in Ignition is a common tag structure, so that we can use the same information for both our mobile applications and for our plant control systems.
The ability to import Python scripts inside the Ignition gateway speeds up the development process by a considerable amount, since there's a lot of libraries built in Python for pretty much anything that you can think of.
Because many of our units operate in remote locations, we needed to find a solution that allowed us to not only be able to remotely control and operate these units, but also be able to transmit that data over very weak bandwidth areas. MQTT offered a great solution in which we were able to transmit and communicate data back to our servers in San Antonio and offer full bi-directional control powered by Ignition. At each of our facilities, we put an edge computer that operates Ignition Edge, which allows the data to be gathered and transmitted under low bandwidth conditions back to our servers in the cloud. The edge computer also allows us to add scripting, which gives us higher level control, for example, Python scripts, and Ignition facilitates the implementation of those scripts. We've been able to optimize bringing smart technologies to our systems using Ignition and edge computers that really drive the cost down.
Ignition helps us diagnose problems in the field faster and more accurately, even from the office. And it lets us send technicians to the sites with the right parts in their truck the first time.
I'm Kofi Powell, Area Operations Manager for Streamline Innovations. The Halcon site is a plant that produces 30,000 pounds of sulfur a day. It's about the size of a football field. Ignition is a great tool for myself and operators as far as seeing what's going on in the plant, making changes in the plant, and also for everyone from myself all the way up to San Antonio office being able to help us out with any troubleshooting. And I use Ignition in my truck. I can use Ignition at home. The coolest thing I know Ignition is you can do your reports from the Ignition. That is awesome to me because no more paper, and the guys can use real-time data. They can overlay trends and actually see real-time data of what the system's actually doing. If we're making 21,000 pounds of sulfur a day, what that's doing with the air and what that's doing with our circulation rate. They can overlay those trends and see if they're matching. With a traditional SCADA system, you can't do that. So at Halcon, we actually have an iPad that we can take inside the plant and view Ignition as well. So they can go up to a circulation pump, pull that circulation pump on Ignition on the iPad and see the real-time data and look at trends, look and see what the pump's doing. So you can actually reduce the number of people at the site. Traditionally, we run with 3 or 4 people on a shift. At Halcon, we run with 2 people on a shift.
For the screens, we tried to not only capture all the data that we thought the operators might need to use, but also leave the flexibility so that they can add their own custom variables to help them better operate the facility. We have been able to replicate a significant chunk of everything that the operators would ever need to do. For example, here is the entire system in one clear view that they could see, or they can go into detailed pages where they can get more information and more pieces of every component of the system. They're also able to control and look at trends right within the system. So for example, we can click on this value and look at a trend, and we can see the trends. So every single variable is accessible for trending. They're also able to look at overarching trends of the entire system in one clear screen, which they could view in real time. And this is the data we use to troubleshoot the system. In the future, we see Ignition growing with us at Streamline. We're in the process of building 8 more facilities in West and South Texas, all of which will be powered by Ignition. Early next year, we're rolling out new facilities, amine plants, that will also be made smart using Ignition technology.
We're finding new uses for Ignition every day.
Well, within the next few months, we're going to be adding multiple sites. And with the Ignition system and the technology used within it, we'll be able to manage and make changes at those sites just like we do at Halcon.
Overall, I'd say Ignition has been an incredible value add to our product and to our company. And we look forward to working with inductive automation to create bigger and better products for the future.